Well, this is going to be a major week for us because I am going to be releasing my Sync Match app. In a way, I'll give you all those details by the end of this video, so you definitely want to stay tuned to the end. But this is going to be, I believe, a game-changing app for sync licensing producers that want to find out this ultimate question of where do I fit in to this marketplace? What TV shows, what channels, what types of content would my music be best for? And most importantly, which libraries are the best fit for me? Which companies should I be reaching out to? And how do I sort through the hundreds of different libraries out there to find out which ones would be the most relevant for me? I'm not going to show you the entire process of how we make the sausage with this app, but I will give you, I think, a very powerful overview as to why this app will be powerful for you and why you will definitely not want to move forward in your sync licensing career without it. So let me just give you a quick overview, okay? The biggest problems that we faced right now, or at least among the biggest problems as sync licensing producers, is we don't really know which tracks are getting placed. Sure, you can turn on the TV, you can turn on a streaming channel, and you can try to find out, just listening with your ears, what's getting placed. It gives you some sense of what's happening. But even with that type of manual research, you don't know which library supplied each one of those tracks. You don't really necessarily get a sense of the overall trends of what styles of music, vocal, instrumental, instruments, moods, genres are getting placed the most and where. So we basically have a curtain in front of us right now, a black hole. We don't really know what's happening in our industry in a recent fashion, okay? If you get your royalty check, if you're fortunate enough to get one, or royalty statement, that was happening 9 months to a year ago. That doesn't really give you recent data of what's really been happening, okay? Another problem we face is we don't really know which libraries we should be pitching to. As I mentioned, there are hundreds of production music libraries out there. How do you know which ones you should be narrowing down to do your research and pitching to? And most of that comes down to we just don't know what each one of these libraries is getting placed. Are they getting hip hop tracks placed? Are they getting trailer orchestral placed? Are they getting more hip hop placed? Where is their music flying off the shelf? Which clients are gobbling it up? We don't know that up until now. Maybe you've always wondered where your music could be used. Is it better for sports? Is it better for trailers? Would it be better for dramas? Would it be better for unscripted reality shows? Again, without this data at our fingertips, we're kind of guessing right now and just thinking, I think I could hear it working for a car commercial or something like that. But nothing really set in stone. It's sort of an unanswered question. You've probably wondered how in demand your style of music is. Is Afrobeat music actually in demand right now? How much in demand is it? Where do hip hop rock tracks get placed, right? And how many different TV shows are using maybe your particular style of music? This is a really big question and a very important question that we can now answer with this app. Maybe you've been looking for proven reference tracks to model your tracks after, not just a track in a production music library catalog that can be useful, but of all the thousands of tracks in that catalog, which ones have been placed? Maybe they show them in their recently placed work section on their website, but that's a small handful of tracks and it doesn't represent everything that's been happening. And most importantly, it doesn't always necessarily represent what's been happening recently in terms of what just got placed in the last month from that production music library, which genres, which moods, which tempos, all these kinds of insights. We now are going to get answers to those questions. Maybe you've struggled with coming up with sync-friendly track titles. I know this has been a big issue with the tracks that I've provided feedback for, is you guys spend a lot of time, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours on your tracks, making sure that they're the best they could possibly be. But then when it comes to the most important part of marketing your track, which is the title, again, that's going to be the first thing that any potential client reads before they click play on your track. Many producers are not crossing that off the checklist. They're not actually getting that done properly and in a sync-friendly fashion to make sure that your track sells itself, markets itself to a potential user before they even click play on your track, okay? So these are all some big problems that a lot of sync licensing producers, potentially you, are facing in this industry, and that's really what this app is designed to fix. And the reason why all these problems exist is we have just not had the data, and now we do. So let me just give you a quick little overview, preview a little bit on how the sausage is made, okay? With this data that you now will potentially have at your fingertips, these are the kinds of insights that you could potentially get access to, okay? So essentially, we, as a part of the Sync Match app, have partnered with a firm that is monitoring the top 10 US broadcast TV channels, okay? That's where we're starting with. We would like to add to that, maybe add streaming platforms, international channels, more US channels. We definitely have bigger, broader visions for how we can grow this, but for right now, we're starting with the top 10 highest rated in terms of Nielsen ratings, and also with the most amount of new original content, because that's where the new placements are had, okay? Not in reruns, that kind of a thing. So as you can see, now that we're monitoring these channels on a monthly basis, we find out which channel the placement occurred in, what's the name of the track title, how many placements that track title received, that track, which TV show was airing, which time slot essentially was happening during that TV placement. Very, very important, which library that track came from, this title, this column right here. And of course, we're going to give you a direct link to that library website, whether or not it's a standalone company or a major publisher or a subcatalog of a major publisher. We're going to give you a direct link to that company so you can go reach out to them and do deeper research if you'd like to. We can also get a snippet, an MP3 audio preview of this track getting placed on ABC, for example. So you can listen to the track and how it was used. You'll hear if it's used in the background, during a promo, during a commercial, during the show. Was it featured? Is it in the foreground, in the background? All of those kinds of insights you can get just by clicking on the links that we'll have on this website so you can listen to that MP3. And of course, we'll give you the link to the Spotify full track. So if you want to listen to it in full, use it as your reference guide, just get an understanding of how it's structured, how long it is, how it works. You're going to get access to that as well. But that's not where we stop. That's just where we begin. The next phase is even more exciting, I think. We can then tag those tracks and we can tell you which genre they're in, which mood they're in. This is a really powerful meta tag indicator for sync licensing, because a lot of times what we're doing is supplying mood and emotion to TV clients. And so we need to understand which moods associated with which genres are getting these placements. We can tell you which BPM they are, how fast, how slow they are. We can tell you which key they were composed in. Kind of interesting insights that we never had any access to before. We can also tell you, is it instrumental? Was it a vocal track? As I've been telling you guys, vocal tracks are becoming more popular. I will tell you, after looking at this data, instrumentals are still getting a vast majority of the placements, but vocals are very, very prominent, as you can see with this little snapshot of the data sheet, okay? And we can also tell you if it's male or female based on what we're hearing. And this is not the comprehensive list of tags that we can associate with these tracks. We have many, many more for further insights as well. But as you can see, hopefully you can feel that sense of excitement and aha that I felt when I first got access to this data of how powerful this can be to unlock some new discoveries for us. And let me show you exactly what kinds of discoveries you can get as a result of Sync Match, okay? So now with this data, all these previous problems that I outlined before can all be solved very easily. And it's, I would say it's not easy or cheap to do all this. It's definitely not easy or cheap to get this data, but it is possible to do this now with modern technology, which is a miracle. So which tracks get placed? Obviously, you can tell we've already solved that problem because we can just tell you immediately from this data sheet and through the app that we're going to release exactly what's getting placed from what libraries, on what TV shows, on what channels. All of this stuff can be researched and indexed and discovered in any format that you need to discover this kind of information. So that's all now. Curtain's been opened. That has been revealed. We've already solved that one, okay? Which library should you pitch to? Well, we can solve that easily with this data because now what we can do is we can pair the libraries that are getting those placements with their genre associations, right? And that means that we can match you based on your genres with the right kinds of libraries. So for example, XYZ library just placed mostly indie rock music in the last month. If you're an indie rock producer, that might be one of the libraries that pop up on your filter that you want to go do a deeper research into, discovering them a little bit further on the app, and also just clicking maybe directly on their link to their website, so you can go do some deeper dive research and email them and reach out to them if you'd like to. But we can essentially narrow down the hundreds of options out there to 5 or 10, maybe even less, maybe even fewer, depending on the kind of genre and the type of music that you make. So we've already solved that, okay? Now, if you've always wondered, where would your music be used? What kinds of use cases would actually be appropriate for the type of music that you create? We can obviously solve that and answer that for you, because what you can do on this app is listen to the placed tracks. You can listen to, as I said, the actual snippet of the placement and the full MP3 or the full Spotify link as well. So you can also get access to find out what music in your style, what moods that you're producing, where they land, and what kind of use cases they are. Are they used in the background? Are they used for sports? Are they used for drama? Are they used in promos and trailers and ads? That's the kind of stuff that you'll find out and get a definite answer for. And most importantly, again, recently, this isn't a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, this is just in the last month, you're going to find out what's happening in our marketplace with your particular style of music, okay? You've probably wondered, is your style of music in demand? Would it fly off the shelf? How many placements does it get? We obviously can answer that with this data sheet because we can now pair all the TV shows that we're monitoring with these channels with what genres and moods that they're getting placed. So we can tell you, well, if you produce this style of music, this is the number of TV shows that have used your style of music in the past month. That number is high, you can say, well, my style of music is actually fairly in demand. There's a lot of different use cases and many different clients that could potentially use it. If the number is low, it gives you an indication that maybe there isn't a course correction, or maybe you just be aware that this could be a type of music that you produce, but maybe you want to add a second or a third type of music that could be a little bit more in demand based on the results that you're finding on the app, okay? You probably want to find those proven reference tracks, not just a reference track on a library website, but the ones that have recently have been proven to get placed. Obviously, with this data sheet and with how it's being presented on the app, you can get the genre and mood matches together to find specific tracks that have been placed that line up perfectly with your genre and your mood. Okay, so not just your genre can obviously be useful, but when you pair and put those together, let's say you do, alternative rock and it's aggressive and angry, you put those moods and those genres together, and now you'll get specific pinpointed targeted matches or tracks that are exactly like yours, or at least closer to yours. And then you can really determine, is this close to what I'm producing? Am I really far off the mark? Do I need to course correct? How can I basically adjust my approach to make sure that my tracks are sounding more and more and more like these in-demand tracks that have already been placed? So you cannot find a better solution to find pinpointed, personalized reference tracks for your music. I think this is going to be a really game-changing part of this app. And of course, if you've just struggled with coming up with these sync-friendly track titles that are engaging, that evoke emotion, evoke imagery, and really do help paint the picture of what your track's mood or emotion is going to be delivering for a client, obviously we can use all these metadata and all these tags to essentially generate titles for you. You don't have to use them if you don't want to, but I can guarantee you that a vast majority of producers will use this app probably primarily for this feature. Maybe they will or will not want to, approach the companies that essentially get matched with them, but definitely just using it as a sort of error, quality control of, did your track title that you came up with on your own, is it better, stronger, more compelling, more thought-provoking than the ones that this app provides for you? If the answer is yes, keep yours. If the answer is no, we say use any of the titles that we generate for you. You can edit them, alter them, whatever you want to do. They are your titles and tracked titles to use as you see fit, okay? And the game-changing part of all of this is that you will be able to upload your music that you've composed to get quick answers to all these questions. Which libraries are the best fit for you? Which TV shows have used your music? Which channels have used your music? Your tags, a list of these track titles, even a text description, and many, many more metrics that you're going to get access to this. So you don't even have to do the research through the app. You don't even have to click on things. You can literally just upload an MP3 of your track. We'll analyze it, we'll tag it, and then we'll pair you against this entire master sheet that we've been compiling for the previous month. And when I say quick, I mean less than 5 minutes. You will get your track tagged and paired with a library, with TV shows, with channels, and all this other interesting stuff within 5 minutes. So it's very fast, it's very convenient, and it's meant to basically get you out of the confusion, anxiety, not sure, where do I go in this business, to get out of that as quick as possible so you get firm, definite answers so you can get back to what you should be getting back to, which is creating high quality music. So that's the game-changing part of this app, okay? So that is why I've been waking up at about 3 in the morning most days in the last couple months to build Sync Match. As you can see, it's very exciting stuff. I do believe it's going to be game-changing, certainly eye-opening, and it's definitely going to be pulling back open that curtain that we've not been able to get full, clear visibility into what's happening in our marketplace so that we know exactly where we fit in and how we best keep up with the trends with the sync licensing marketplace. So that's what's exciting about this app. So here are the details of the release and how we're going to basically roll this thing out. It will be available this Friday, May 16th. However, it will be only available to current Sync Academy, Sync Edge, or Pro Feedback members, which are our internal community members. So right now, won't be released publicly. We will in the coming weeks, but I have not set a date for that, okay? So if you're already in our community, you guys will get access to the link. You guys will be able to sign up for this first and get access to a founder's rate, which I'll explain a little bit further later on this week. But essentially how I want to structure this is I want to have a little bit of a soft launch because My anticipation that with this data, once you guys see, and I'm going to be releasing more videos this week showing you guys exactly how this app works and the power of it. My anticipation is that many of you, hundreds of you, maybe even thousands of you, will want to sign up for this app. And so I want to make sure that before I release it publicly to the broader audience, that we sort of have it a little bit more further inside of the family, so to speak. And if there are any kinks or bugs or issues, we kind of work that out together, make sure that this is working seamlessly for all of you guys. I will definitely be staying at my computer glued essentially for the next couple of weeks to make sure we iron out all these issues if there are any, to make sure that it's just a steamrolling, smooth locomotive moving before I decide to release it publicly. So if you guys are already in Sync Academy, Sync Edge, Pro Feedback, look out, because I'll definitely be giving you guys the link this Friday, so you guys can go check it out and be the first to jump on board and try this thing out and take it for a spin, okay? Now, it is going to be an app that is web and mobile based. It'll work for every platform. You can have it on your phone, you can have it on your desktop computer, you can have it on your tablet, you can have it anywhere you'd like to. I will say it'll probably work best for most of you as a web browser interface, because if you want to upload your MP3s, most of you with your home studios are going to have all your music sitting right there on an external hard drive or on your computer. So that'll be probably the best way for you to use it. So you can just directly upload your tracks onto the app and get those matches within 5 minutes. But you can have it on the go. You can have it anywhere you want to. It is a very versatile app. It's very user-friendly and very intuitive to use, I believe, okay? And I will be offering a first 100 founders rate offer, okay? So for those of you that are already in our platform, Sync Academy, Sync Edge, Pro Feedback, basically for the first 100 members that decide to sign up and try this out, you guys are going to be getting a founders rate membership rate, okay? So it's going to be much highly discounted from what I'm going to basically eventually raise it up to. I haven't exactly set what it's going to be. But the reason for that is right now we are monitoring those top 10 US channels because, like I said, top ratings, most original content, really cool stuff happening with them. But of course, that is not the end all and be all of the TV sync licensing marketplace. There are hundreds of channels, maybe even up to thousands now, right? But this data is not cheap. It's not easy to come by. And so it's something that I'd like to have us grow together. So the idea is that I want those of you that are interested in this, you find this going to be useful, valuable, and powerful. If you want to essentially jump on board as one of the founding members, I will give you, I think, one hell of a deal, and I'll let you lock in that rate for as long as you want to keep your membership. And the reason for that is I want to essentially prove the concept of this app, and as long as it can at least pay for itself with all the data. It's the most expensive thing. I won't give you guys bore with the details, but it has been the most expensive thing I have ever put together to get the data, to host all this data, to organize it. It is not cheap to do any of this kind of stuff, but I believe that we can scale this thing up much bigger than just 10 channels. I'd like to see dozens and dozens of channels, maybe even hundreds. I'd also like to see us move into monitoring streaming platforms, potentially video games, and other potentially mediums that we could basically get access to. But before we go to the moon, we got to make sure that we can start at the ground level and make this a proven concept that's going to be valuable and useful for you guys, so that we can continue to add more and more channels, more and more data to it, to make it just an unstoppable, undeniable force of basically data gathering and giving you guys access to everything that's happening in our business as the best that we possibly can. So I'll give you guys more details about all of this, obviously, as the week goes on. Just wanted to give you a little snapshot of what's going to be happening. And I wanted to share, as I say goodbye today, just one comment that I got from Marcus DeFingus. Marcus, if you're watching this, sometimes you watch my videos. I appreciate you, man. Marcus was one of our beta testers. We had many beta testers take it for a test spin and give me some great feedback. But Marcus's comment the other day really caught my eye. And I think this is going to be a very common comment and reaction I get from a lot of you that jump onto this platform when it's available. And he said this app is way more powerful than he thought it was. And I think that is going to be the reaction from a lot of producers. I will show you guys, obviously, on this channel, previews of the app. I'll show you exactly how you can upload a track, and I'll give you some example results, so you'll actually see all this. But I think you have to experience it for yourself to feel that same sense of excitement and that sense of power that Marcus felt, and that I and that many of the other beta testers have been feeling as I've been going through and trying this thing out. So I wanted to just leave you guys with that. More details will come. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything about this app, go ahead and post it below. I'll be happy to answer any of them I possibly can. And stay tuned. It's going to be a busy week, going to be a lot of videos, a lot of content, and of course, a lot of emails coming at you guys, letting you guys know about this app as we release it this Friday.